I like to move around when I'm talking, but I also need to be at my keyboard for this talk, so we'll see how this goes. Thank you for the lapel mic. My name's Carter Hesterman. Thank you for the introduction, Dave. Yeah, I'll be chatting with you all about dev tools. Here's a little bit about me that was already covered. Some contact info I'll have later. I want to forewarn everyone, I ran this past my wife last night, and she's like, that is so much. Like, I don't understand what this is even, but like, it is just a lot. So this used to be, why am I talking about this? I changed it to buckle up, like fasten your seatbelts. I've got 15 minutes, so we're gonna go fast. I will post these slides on my Twitter. I also have a lot of the content on my GitHub, so don't worry about taking notes, just kind of sit back and just hopefully enjoy it. Let's dig right in. Andy Hunt in The Pragmatic Programmer claims that tools will amplify your talent. The better your tools and the better you know how to use them, the more productive you can be. Pretty cool, I really like that. It's an excellent book, highly recommend it. He further goes on to claim that woodworkers and software engineers actually have a similarity in how we should have our tools develop. I love the metaphor he uses here. He says, just as the master craftsman or craftswoman has used their saw for so long, the handle has started shaping itself to their hand. You know, if somebody else picks it up, they're gonna be like, this feels weird, I'm gonna go back to my Walmart saw. We should have our workstation feel like that as well. If you find yourself sitting down at somebody's computer and I'm gonna use their VS Code or pair with them or something, and it feels weird to you and you're silently hopefully saying, man, I wish they had X, Y, or Z installed, you've done this correctly. Aside from that though, to be more explicit with what I'm hoping you're gonna take away, aside from being just kind of irritated every time you pair with somebody, is I'm hoping you'll be able to deepen your knowledge of your text editor and your command line interface. I'm gonna give you suggestions for where to start here. I'll give you some keyboard shortcuts, snippets, etc. Don't let that be the end though. I'm hoping that you'll be able to make this a habit. I'll show you my saw, you can use it if you want, but make your own saw. Develop the tools to fit your hands, not mine. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about the text editor. So I know we're all using Notepad++, and Notepad++ is extremely powerful. No, just kidding. We're gonna talk about VS Code because that's what everyone's using, but I think it applies to Notepad++. If you don't know what that is, then that's okay. I'm pretty sure this applies to Atom, Sublime, etc. But yeah, a few things we're gonna cover over here. I'm not gonna go over the debugger. Coming from a Java and C# background, I use the debugger a lot, and we don't use it as much in JavaScript. It's kind of the sleeping giant of our text editor. I would encourage you to go and look that up another time though. But we're gonna talk about keyboard shortcuts instead. We're gonna move beyond Command D. If you don't know what Command D is, we'll go over that briefly. But Carter, there are so many keyboard shortcuts. How do I pick which ones to look into? Do I print off a cheat sheet, close my eyes and throw a dart and, okay, today we're gonna learn what symbol Command T is. No, fellow conference goer, I would propose that instead you start by choosing to not use your mouse. If you find you're using your mouse for any of these things, window navigation, tab navigation, doing things on multiple lines, click, edit, etc. Switching between files and projects. I die a little bit inside silently again, but anytime I'm pairing with somebody, I just have to patiently sit there as they click through their file tree to find the exact file, the component, they know what it is. Just Command P, type it in, please, and then be done with it. Control R is the same thing, but just for switching between projects, for the record. So these are some starting points. If you can get your hands away from using your mouse, not only will you feel more like, as somebody described earlier, a macho programmer, although I don't think we're supposed to be macho programmers, but you'll find you're able to stay in your flow better. You're able to get rolling. It's kind of like when you're playing Sonic and you start going really fast and you're like, nothing can stop me. And then you hit a spike and you drop your ring. You're not hitting the spikes. You're able to just keep going. This is all cool and all. Helpful, hopefully objective here. Where do I start with this? Where do I edit these? Another great question. I'm gonna actually jump over to my VS Code here, make this full screen, and I'm gonna pop open what's called the command palette. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. But the main thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in keyboard shortcuts. And check this out. I've got every single keyboard shortcut under the sun here. So if you wanna just pick one in here, you can do that. Say you bumped a keyboard shortcut and you're like, that was weird, I don't know what that did. What is that Command D that Carter talked about earlier? I can actually search by key combination and it'll tell me what it is. If you can't remember the copy paste command, you can actually search by functionality as well. I hope you remember copy paste. We need to talk if you don't. So this is useful. This is helpful if you want to do some overrides. Just like, I don't like Command D, I want it to be Command S. I don't know what you use to save if you do that, but you do you, it's your saw, not mine. So I prefer to go, actually, let's go back to the command palette, Command-Shift-P, keyboard, shortcuts, JSON. Here, this will pop open a JSON file of overrides. So you'll have all of your other things, but then it applies these on top. These are some of the ones I use. Tab navigation, window navigation. Let's go over that in a second. Yeah, let's look at those ones. So let's open up this one. I really don't want to click back and forth on that. That just doesn't feel good. It's slow. I would much rather do that thing. That's just annoying and fast. But it keeps me in the flow. So let's look at that. I'm hitting Command J to do that. All I have to do here is specify a key combination that I want. Go online to the Visual Studio Code documentation. It's very well written. Very easy to find what you're looking for. And oh, look, I found previous editor and group. And this will apply when I have the text editor in focus. Very useful. I've got you can have other ones in here as well. If the terminal is focused and I hit Command semicolon, it'll actually pop me back up here to my editor. If my editor's focused and I hit semicolon, Command semicolon, it'll pop me back down into my terminal. So those are a few tips with keyboard shortcuts. Hopefully those help. I've got these posted on the slides if you want those ones specifically. Let's talk about snippets. What is a snippet? A snippet is the magic phrase that you can type into your editor, hit tab, and it will spit out a bunch of boilerplate for you. It is great. There are a lot of things I can use these for. Where do I start with this one, Carter? I would say, yeah, stop repeating yourself. If you find that you have to copy something multiple times a day, multiple times a week, if there's something part of your regular workflow that you find yourself having to copy, that is a good candidate for a snippet. Examples of these would include test suites. If you have to copy a test suite, but then you have to delete everything and rename things, excellent candidate for a snippet. React boilerplate for components. If you're doing Express, doing controllers, DAOs, routers, etc. I'm so lazy, I don't even like typing out console.log. I always flub the parent, I hit the square bracket instead. Instead, I just type out slog to let it know how I feel about it, and then hit tab and it drops me right there in the middle. No parents required. So let's dig into the anatomy of a snippet really quick. So what we've got here is we define an object. I'll show you where in a sec. We give it a name. We tell it what the magic word is or the prefix. And then we say, here is all the text I want you to spit out. If it's multiple lines, you got to make it an array, or you can do just a single line. If you want some tabs and spacing, you can do /T to put that in there for you. Well, now that we know the anatomy of a snippet, the next natural question is, where do baby snippets come from? How do I use these? So we're going to go back to VS Code here. I'm going to open my command palette, Command-Shift-P, and I'm going to search for snippets. Check it out, configure user snippets, and there is all the snippets in here. We can do our, Docker compose snippets if we want. We're going to do TypeScript React though, because that's what I'm most comfortable with. And here are all my snippets. Don't judge me for having my test suite be an enzyme. This is old. Let's make a new one. I'm going to call this Utah.js. Man, typing when your hands are shaking is really difficult. That's something else. All right, and then we're going to type out prefix. Let's see, hi there. And then the text I'm going to spit out is going to be, hi, $1, how are you, $2. We're going to save that. Let's go to a TSX file and type in, hi there, what's the magic phrase? There it is, hit tab, check it out, pretty cool. Note that it put my cursor right where that $1 is, so I can actually type in Carter, hit tab, it puts me where the $2 is, and say, hi Carter, how are you presenting? Spelled wrong. There we go. Hopefully I'm presenting well. Thank you for asking, VS Code. Another example though of how to use these indices with a lot of power. Let's delete this really quick. Let's use my suite one. I want to test the app one. I've got $1 in 5 different places right there. I just had to type app once and it puts it all over for me. Pretty cool. So those are snippets. One more thing before we move on to talking about the command line, the ultimate way to Marie Kondo your mouse, thank you for your service, LG Pro or Magic Mouse, is to check out Vim. If you're feeling confident with snippets, keyboard shortcuts, etc., you've got a couple years under your belt, it might be time to check out Vim or Emacs. Carter, I don't have to use my mouse anymore, but gee, it sure is just terrible having to use the keyboard arrows to go from one part of the file all the way down to the bottom part. Vim is the thing for you next. I can promise you that will make your life a lot better. People get intimidated by it. Some people sell their computers because they can't figure out how to get out of it when they accidentally open it up. I've been there, I get it. Check out Vim Tutor. There's YouTube tutorials, there's games and stuff, but Vim Tutor is so simple. It ships with Vim. You read and edit the Vim docs using Vim as it tells you how to do it. Pretty cool. I use the VS Vim extension inside of VS Code. Don't at me, I'm not a purist. I love the functionality of VS Code with the Vim key bindings. All right, let's chat about the CLI. There's a lot more than just yarn start out there for you to use. I know we use npm install as well, but there's more than that even. Let's talk about a few things you can do to level up your command line usage. First thing, don't use your mouse to go to it. You should make it super easy to open and close. I kind of want to ask everyone to do like a drum roll. Can we like do this for a second? Like, you guys, this is gonna blow my, oh, this is working, sweet, all right. Check it out, okay, applause, please, applause. Thank you, thank you. You weren't expecting it's so easy for me to open and close. I can open it while I'm presenting and then say, be gone with you, I'm done. iTerm 2 with the Quake Visor mode, in case you're curious what that is. But being able to do it back and forth in VS Code like this is also cool. You just can't do it as dramatically. Learn some new commands and tricks. Google, Reddit, whatever you want to do. Top 10 commands that help you in shell as a software engineer. One that I love to use, let's pop this open again, is, let's clear this, the history command. I ran this Docker command 6 months ago. I can't remember what it is. Instead of going and doing that, I can scroll all the way back through here and find it, or I can take history, use the pipe operator, which takes the output of history and pipes it as the first argument to the next command. We're going to do grep, and then we're going to search for all the ones that have the keyword Docker in it. And check it out. Now I have all the ones with Docker. Ah, yes, it was, I don't know, this one. Rather than copying and pasting that, I can go bang 1410, and it will drop the whole command right there for me. Super easy, super simple. That's just an example of how you can kind of chain commands together. Carter, I can search for a lot of this in VS Code and everything. You're correct. If you're SSH'd into a machine, though, you probably won't have a GUI or VS Code installed for that matter. So knowing your command line can help you be a lot more comfortable in some of the more foreign waters of software engineering. If you noticed, I have some autocomplete and stuff popping in up here. That's Oh My ZSH with some plugins installed. Another thing I'd encourage you to go check out. Pretty cool, and it has some sweet themes as well. Okay, last thing. Aliases. Efficiency is just clever laziness, and that is the motto by which I run my life, for better or for worse. Here's some of my favorite lazy keywords that I like to use in my workflow. I really don't like typing out the word yarn or git. I type it out 1 billion times a day, 1 billion times a week, so I would much rather type out why than just yarn. Like, it's not that hard, I know, but how granular do I get with these? What makes a good alias? How often do you use that command? No command is too small. Again, yarn is very simple, but if I just type y, that's even simpler, and I don't mess it up as often. Do you use that command multiple times a day? Is it part of your workflow every single time you're doing something in your day? Or is it something you use once a week? If it's the former, probably a good candidate for an alias. How do I define an alias? It is very easy, conveniently, and let's do that really quick. I'm actually gonna pop open my command line really quick here. I'm going to use a command that's installed with VS Code, just called code. I'm going to go to my root directory and open up my ZSH RC file. This should pop it open in VS Code, slowly, because everybody's watching it. There we go. All right, here we are. There's a bunch of things in here. I don't know what most of these things are, but the thing that you need to care about is you can scroll to wherever you want in here and add an alias. You can say alias yt equals yarn test. I save this. If I go to run it right now, it actually won't be there. There's one more step I've got to do. I have to type out source and then /.zshrc. That will say dump the existing config, load this new one in, and we were ready to rock. That is all you have to do for aliases. You could get this done in 30 seconds. You could do it right now while I'm talking and wrapping up the presentation. A few other things you can use them for. Say you've got a really long running command or something like that, a Docker command that takes an hour to run, and you want to be notified when it's done. I actually have a notify command that uses the Macintosh AFplay command. I play a sound effect from Zelda Ocarina of Time. When it's done, I'll go sleep to ;notify. Oh, I muted it. That was really anticlimactic. Let's try that. All right, we're gonna do this again. Sorry, I've got like 10 seconds left. I'm wasting it on this. There it is. All right, it gets you back, gets you off of watching whatever you're doing and back onto your code. We covered a lot of things here today. I would encourage you to write something down. That's going to be what makes this useful for you. A lot more useful than just listening to me for 15 minutes. Schedule some time to go through and review this. Write down some action items, something you want to do, make a Slack reminder, and that will be how you actually come out, a better engineer, hopefully, than you were 15 minutes ago. Speaking of dev tools, we're hiring at JupyterOne. I don't know, and for lack of a better transition, I love my team. Come find me or reach out to me at any of these meetings. Thank you. You all have been awesome.